Hi! Happy Wednesday! I am going to be doing an Instagram live session about adventuring. I just, hi! I just want to take a couple minutes for people to get in here and say hi to everybody. Let me know where you're joining in from. And hello. Hi. And yeah, we're going to be talking about adventuring today. Yes. Hello. Hi. So if you have not seen it already, there is a blog post. Hi, Bonnie Jean. Hi, Janice. There is a new blog post up on uncustomary.org. Hi, Joe. That is 50 ways to have everyday adventures. So an uncustomary babe asked me for that list and I made it. On that article that's up now, there are also 10 different places to try having adventures, 10 things to add to your adventure toolkit, and then 10 just like basic ideologies to have for going on adventures. Oh, pink hair. Yes. Very good pink hair. Hey, Kaz. So that's the blog post that I made for the website, but I wanted to kind of elaborate. And for this Instagram live post, I thought that it would be kind of cool to talk about my personal favorite adventurer and like 3 of the different ways that she talks about adventuring. So I am talking about Carrie Smith, and if you don't know who that is, I would love to blow your mind and blow your world up. She is my favorite guerrilla artist. She is an amazing person. She's written so many books. You might know her from Breakfast Journal. That's the most famous thing that she's done, but there are like a million more and I think better things that she's done. So if you are interested in guerrilla art or exploratory living, she has some amazing resources for you. I'm going to be talking about 3 of them today, and they are called The Wander Society, How to Be an Explorer of the World, and Living Out Loud. Now, if you go into my Instagram stories and swipe up, these are all listed right there, and you can just swipe up and they go right to Amazon. You can find them for yourself. Haley. So we're gonna start off by just kind of talking about what adventuring is. This is something that you can also find on the blog, but just to kind of generally say that adventuring is something that's a very unique process for everyone. When we think about adventuring, most people see in their heads like people like hang gliding or climbing a mountain or doing something very outdoorsy usually. That can be true most of the time probably, but adventuring can be so much more. Adventuring does not require you to leave the house. It does not require a second person. It does not require money. It can just be done within your own mind, as crazy and woo-woo as that sounds. But I am going to come up with some different types of ideas for you today. There again are 50 different unique ways for you to adventure on uncustomary.org, and there's another swipe up that you can do in my Instagram stories right now. But some places that you might want to consider adventuring are like city streets, abandoned buildings. I didn't tell you to do that, don't get caught. Haunted places, historical places, museums, parks and forests, barns and stuff like that. You can just kind of adventure in your backyard, in your house, a library. Okay, so I'm going to dive into the 3 books and talk about, for each book I'm going to tell you kind of like what that specific definition is and the history/philosophy of that book, and then what you would ultimately have in your toolkit if you were going to dive into that ideology. and then a couple ideas of some fieldwork assignments that you could do for that one. And then we'll move on to the next book, okay? Let me know if you have any questions. If you're excited, throw some hearts in right now. And let's get going. All right, so we're going to start off with The Wander Society. All of these books, again, are by Keri Smith. You can find her online. She's not super into social media, but that's because she's too busy being like really, really awesome. So this book is called The Wander Society. This is like the most like underground one, and also the most basic kind of technique. The idea is simply just that, my notes down here, just that you are basically just walking, right? So you're just walking aimlessly. So the definition is aimless walking or exploring that's unplanned with openness to the unknown. So that's beautiful, right? Like, just that concept is beautiful. The Wander Society, which is what this book is specifically based on, is an underground like movement collective that started in about 2011. But the concept is based on the historic romantic movement of the early 1800s. And there are like so many people that have been wanderers and written it in their books over like centuries, and they're just talking about how every day I wander, and every day I realize that while I'm wandering, while I'm aimlessly walking, I find something new, I think of something new, this is where my inspiration comes to me. And the idea is not necessarily only to gather and gain inspiration, but to become more aware of your environment and kind of do both at the same time. One feeds into the other. So while you're walking and exploring and looking at all these nooks and crannies and being completely open to whatever's happening, it's like the shower principle, where when you're doing something else, the answer comes to you. So that's something to really consider doing. The idea would be to ultimately do this once a day for an hour. It seems crazy, but if you do it, it like absolutely changes your life. Some things that a wanderer would want to have in their toolkit, a lot of these will overlap, but again, it's a little different specific kind of thing for a wanderer. You want to throw out like clocks and technology, right? So if you have your phone, keep it, but like for emergencies, like turn it to airplane mode. And if you want to use it for a camera, that's fine, but only have it in case you like need to use it. Definitely a notebook and paper, pen, documentation tools. So that can be an actual camera, video camera. It could be a sound recorder. Things for leaving things behind. So maybe making a mark for yourself. I'm going to talk more on that later for living out loud. Containers to collect things in. So tins, jars, Ziploc baggies, a map, a book to actually sit down and read. Maybe you're just going to go and actually sit still in the middle of some space in a park and just take all the nature in. People watch. Sidewalk chalk, paint, a walking stick, a pouch or a bag to put all these things in, and then the Wandering Society lexicon, which is a bunch of symbols where the people that are a part of this group, this movement, leave specific symbols on poles or trees or whatever that mean different things, like I was here, or go this way, or this is dangerous, or stuff like that. So you're communicating with other people that were like a part of this society. It's very, very cool. Yeah, so some fieldwork or assignments that you could do. And again, this book has like half of the book is fieldwork assignment ideas. But ideas are things like do everything in half the speed that you would usually do. So you have to be super, super mindful and very aware of how fast you usually go, how fast you're currently going, moving very slowly, half the pace. How would that change your world? How would that change your movement? Recording sounds, so just having a tape recorder on as you're walking around and then recording or reviewing that later, or doing it specifically when you hear one specific kind of thing, when you hear cars, when you hear birds, when you hear people laughing, and then have a collection of sounds. Looking for everything in one color and letting that be your guide. So you select purple, for example, and then whenever you see something purple, you just go that direction and you let that be your guide for your path, for your wandering that day. Or letting something else guide you, like a body of water or the wind. So like letting whatever the wind is picking up on the street, like a leaf or a piece of trash, like let that guide you. Or it could be light, like letting shadows and the way that they're lighting up stuff guide your path. You can also get a map and blow it up and have like a really detailed printout of your neighborhood and make sure that you explore every single street until you've exhausted it. And then once you're done, you can always go back again because there's still going to be more to explore by the time that you're done. Or you can move on to a new neighborhood. It's up to you. You could do like little pins, like on like a CIA map on a bulletin board. You could highlight it however you want to do it. But those are just some ideas for wandering. And that's like a very low key, low pace, chill aspect of adventuring. Okay, so the next one I want to talk about is the books fell off and my microphone fell. The next one I want to talk about is one of my favorite books of all time, and it's called How to Be an Explorer of the World. Again, this is in my Instagram stories, and if you swipe up, you can find it. It'll go straight to Amazon. I've loved this book for a long time, and it is extremely inspiring. So the philosophy behind being an explorer is that you observe everything and then you also believe and just treat everything as if it's animate and alive. You notice stories and patterns and movement, and you draw connections. You create dialogue with your environment. You use all 5 of your senses, and you investigate things. Whenever there's a chance to go deeper, you go deeper. So a toolkit for an explorer of the world would be, again, a camera, maybe tweezers, gloves if things get messy, again, a bag, a magnifying glass, a notebook and a pen always, a pocket knife, labels, jars, envelopes, more Ziploc baggies, tins, tape, glue sticks, scissors. Those are all good things to have. Let's see. For fieldwork assignment stuff, you can collect things based on a theme. So that could be things that you see while you're walking on your way to work every day. So every day you pick up one thing on your way to work, and then that becomes a collection. Or you collect everything that you see while you're out one day that's smaller than your thumb. Or you collect all the rocks that you can find in one day, but then when you come back at the end of the day, you notice all of the subtle differences between the rocks and you make a log of it. You could take time to survey strangers and ask them really specific, obscure questions about things that may not seem important to a lot of people, but something that you're very interested in. You could describe a scene from one point of view in extreme detail, but like then describe that exact same scene from an object in that scene's point of view. You could try to list all of the things that you experience from one element of your senses. So list out everything you hear for an entire day. You could walk around and try to find things that look animated, look for things that have faces in them, and add googly eyes if you want. Or take pictures of all of the faces that you find and put them in an album to share with people. So that's an idea of how to be an explorer of the world. It's very fun. Again, you can swipe up and find that in my Instagram stories. The next one we're going to do, which can also be found next, is Living Out Loud, Activities to Fuel a Creative Life. Again, all of these are by Carrie Smith. This one is really colorful, has stickers and like pull out stuff, and it's fun. So the idea behind this is that you are living your life as art, you're embracing play, and you're celebrating life. So the toolkit that you might want to have for this guy, for Living Loudly, would be paper, ribbon, string, pen, maybe a superhero cape, scissors, rubber bands, pens, herbs, and sidewalk chalk. Fieldwork assignments could be making your own smudge stick, writing a letter to your future self, painting rocks and leaving nice messages on them for people to find, making a fairy or herb garden, writing wishes on strips of paper and turning them into origami stars and then putting that jar on your altar, making a wish. Making an altar itself, that could be a Living Loudly exercise. Decorating your home space. Remember that you can adventure in your home, so it can be an adventure here too. You can write a manifesto for yourself and what that means for you as your own superhero person living loudly, what that means for you. You could go around town and write inspiring notes or quotes in chalk and leave them for people to find and smile at. So there's a bunch of different things that you can do, from wandering to exploring to living loudly. And all kinds of these examples, and then even more like outdoorsy and outrageous stuff, are all listed on my blog post, 50 Adventures for Everyday Life, and then there's more ideas and resources there. So if you are interested in any of those or these books, please check it out. If you have any questions, now's the time to ask me, because I think I've gone through everything that I wanted to go through. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of extra information and make sure that I shared Carrie Smith as a resource for you, because she is truly a wonderful resource for adventuring. If that's everything, then I'm going to sign off, and I hope that you have a wonderful Wednesday.